Benefield. Nate is the Senior Vice President of the Commonwealth Foundation. Nate, what's going on, my man? Big win today in court, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. A big win for taxpayers and families, avoiding a big energy tax that would be coming down the pike.
All right, so the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, RGGI, what is it?
Yeah, so basically the name sounds very complicated, but what it is a lot of states put into this compact, joining in. Governor Wolf had tried to put Pennsylvania in. But what it comes down to is basically charging a tax on carbon emissions, which basically is taxing our energy producers. We charge them in Pennsylvania, creating a slush fund. The reality is it's a tax. That tax will be passed on to consumers in order to create the spending program. And the court struck it down. This is saying that Governor Wolf, the former governor, cannot unilaterally create a tax on Pennsylvania families without legislative approval. And that's a great ruling from the Commonwealth Court that came down.
And this idea of a regional greenhouse gas initiative, I mean, this is another way that the left can fight natural gas, right? Which is critical to Pennsylvania. And it's powered by this very same mindset of the people that want to get rid of, well, really all the energy that actually works.
Yeah, absolutely. The idea is that we're going to tax coal producers, we're going to tax natural gas, those things that work, create subsidies for solar and wind and other energy things. They're all see a special interest. So like, hey, if we put this tax on, we can get some of the revenue. One of the realities is the states that have done this already, so far, largely aren't energy producing states, whereas Pennsylvania is, and a lot of these states, like, oh, we did this, RGGI and our emissions went down. Pennsylvania ended up producing more electricity to, actually exporting electricity to the other states. Our emissions also went down because of the natural gas and better technology. And so this is not needed at all. But if we imposed this in Pennsylvania, it would just be outsourcing our jobs to other states while driving up prices for electricity prices for homeowners and businesses. Yeah,
as a buddy of mine who works in the energy industry put it, it's a scam, and it will also it will cost people money. It's in no way, shape, or form is it going to in any way help us save money. It's purely just another way. It's a racket. It's like a money laundering scheme, scamming energy consumers. And I think that for particularly this idea of a regional greenhouse gas initiative or these carbon capture scams, whatever these things are, what it's really designed to do is to just force the hand so that the marketplace will have no choice but to go to all renewable energy. And it's just another way of the government coming in here, whether it's by banning gas cars or taxing natural gas or taxing these, doing this in a way to manipulate the marketplace. Because let's face it, Nate Benefield, we don't have a fair market when it comes to energy. We have a government-involved marketplace because people don't want what they're selling. And that's the bottom line. So this regional greenhouse gas initiative nonsense would have wound up hurting Pennsylvania, and there's still a chance it could come back to life. But my question is, with the new governor now, since this was something that Tom Wolf did, where's Josh Shapiro on all this?
Well, that is the $3 billion question, Rich, because Governor Shapiro on the campaign trail said, well, I have a lot of concerns about RGGI. I have concerns about the cost it will impose on consumers and families, but kind of took a neutral ground on that. Since the ruling has come down, he's still been kind of middle of the road, not trying to offend anyone. So we're going to take a look at the ruling and decide later, and decide in a few weeks what to do, whether to appeal it or not to. At this point, he's got to stop being on the campaign trail, stop campaigning, trying to please everyone. He's got to govern and make decisions on things like this. Hopefully, he sticks to the things that's on the campaign trail, realizing this is bad policy. He also said he wanted to work with the legislature. The legislature overwhelmingly voted to reject RGGI. They actually passed a resolution to block this tax. Governor Wolf at that time vetoed the resolution, and they didn't have quite enough. They were just one or two votes short of being able to override his veto. But clearly, the legislature does not want this in place. It was unilaterally opposed by Governor Wolf. If Governor Shapiro sticks to what he campaigned on, he should let us die and go into oblivion. But he really has not taken a position on what he's going to do next.
Well, this is a great point, right? Because this is where Josh Shapiro has to ask a question, which is the governor of Pennsylvania actually focused on what's good for Pennsylvania, or is he looking at a presidential career? Because if he's looking at what's good for the state that he's the governor of, he will not let Reggie come back. But if he wants to run for president someday, and it certainly sounds to me like he does, much like how he's flipped on school choice, he's going to flip on this too. Because there's no way to make it out of a Democrat primary for president of the United States if you oppose the regional greenhouse gas initiative or any other initiative to knock down natural gas. Because let's face it, Nate Benefield, Commonwealth Foundation Senior Vice President, as we've talked about so many times, Pennsylvania has the opportunity to be the natural gas exporter to the world. A liquefied natural gas exporter to the world. And we can stop making people like Vladimir Putin rich, and we can get rich off this, and we can do these things. But you're not going to become the Democrat nominee for president of the United States if you are pro-natural gas. However, you will be a very popular governor of Pennsylvania if you're pro-natural gas. This is the great conundrum that I think Governor Josh Shapiro faces right now.
Yeah, and I'll add to that conundrum that he certainly, has the environmental left that he wants to keep happy. But he also has the construction trades he wants to keep happy. They've been big supporters. One of the plaintiffs in this lawsuit was the construction trades because they work in the energy sector. That's where their jobs are. And Reggie would have devastated some of their jobs, these unionized jobs. And so the labor leaders have been against Reggie. So Governor Shapiro has to kind of politically choose between not only what's good for Pennsylvania, but between two of his political supporters and campaign supporters going forward and whether to appeal this. And of course, this, if he appeals it, it goes to the Supreme Court, state Supreme Court. I'm sure, as you are well aware, there's an election coming up on that. So, what the future Supreme Court might do on this issue almost hinges on what the outcome is of the election next Tuesday.
Very good point, which is why I've been out there saying everybody needs to vote for Judge Carolyn Carluccio. This is an important point. And obviously, I would never ask her about that because she may have to rule on it one day as a Supreme Court justice. But that part of it is a piece that people should think about. If you want to continue this war on natural gas, if you want to continue the left's green agenda here, if you want to pay more in your utility bills, if you want all these things, then if the Democrats try to bring back Reggie, you got to think about that. And this is why, again, this election on Tuesday matters. It's not getting the attention it needs because you go, Supreme Court, why does that really matter? But you just made an excellent point there. People should really think about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It is an election. Supreme Court elections don't tend to have high turnout, but it really does affect people's lives, and especially when you have had, as in Pennsylvania, an executive branch that tries to run past the legislature, things go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court makes its decisions, and the outcome of the Supreme Court election could decide whether your electric bill is going to skyrocket if this Reggie is allowed to continue. So it's a crucial election. I think a lot of voters are aware, but a lot of voters still have not made up their minds. I think this is a warning sign. These are the types of things that do come to our state Supreme Court and are important for voters to be very, very keenly aware of.
Nate Benefield, Senior Vice President of the Commonwealth Foundation. Thanks, my friend. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.